Combat Review. Welcome to the Necromunda Hired Gun Combat Review, where story takes a backseat as we just look at how good it feels to fight in this motion-based shooter. Think Borderlands meets Doom. We've lots of guns to see throughout this campaign, including some real wow moments. And here's where you get first acquainted with your trigger finger. What a huge revolver! Looks and sounds fantastic, and the game is telling you to expect a lot of trouble from the start by sending 3 grunts your way at once. Happily, dispatching these was a joy, and as you have seen, they display very good bespoke stagger reactions to body or limb shots. This adds so much to the feeling of satisfaction when shooting these enemies, even with the entry-level weapon. So this is a great start. I just wish the thing was posed a bit smaller on screen. Adding a scope and suppressor blocks out near half your foreground. Very nice to see a headshot kills these low tier thugs, blowing it away completely half the time. That gives you a weak spot to consider during battle. Although later enemies must have iron skull implants, as they can take quite a pounding. As well as headshots, some enemies carry explosive backpacks for more weak spot options, and there is a vast array of dismemberments going on too. It's good they react to that shot in the leg, as the next one may take it clean off. Later enemies have force shields that need depleting before they take damage, and we also have old-fashioned shield-carrying troopers that deflect your fire. And while not destructible, you can use a grapple to yank them away. Oh, and these big robots do have destructible parts to them, which is a joy to smash to pieces. Although I'd like to have seen some glowing weak spot beneath the armour to deal double damage with a crunching sound effect when hit. As it is, it's a little repetitive taking these big guys down. The later weapons do help with this, however. The auto gun is your second weapon. This is a fine SMG that chews grunts to pieces. Looks like a worn out rust bucket, but it sounds and feels great to shoot. Its bullets are not watered down and multiple enemies fall as you would have hoped. Enemies still flinch, and the amount of environment mess this thing kicks up is a lot of fun. You'll find variants of each weapon throughout the campaign also, which are aesthetically different but functionally the same. Check out the next tier autogun design here. And here's what the first 2 guns look like, fully upgraded with mods. Love that reflex design. All these mods can be purchased when selecting your loadout before a mission, so each level has your own weapon preference and playstyle. Expect to get lost in stats as you upgrade your favourite weapons. Your pet attack dog is an integral part to the gunplay from the start also, directing them to a target while you take care of another. Really adds a new dimension to solo play, taking the heat off you when you need it most. It's intuitive to use in the heat of the moment, and you can gradually power up your pooch with augments to help them rip and tear. I was hoping the Mastiff would be a persistent accomplice by your side through each level, but it acts more like a power-up on a cooldown timer. Still, it's great to see such a unique addition to the combat. What was less nice to see though is, once again, ragdoll deaths replacing hand key death animation cycles. I've said it before and I'll say it again, this removes any emotion or expressive character reactions in one of the most crucial moments of combat. Every enemy is reduced to the same floppy death doll seen in countless other titles. And yes, this is gonna happen too. It's a shame, as these enemies are actually fantastic otherwise, a great variety on offer that keeps things fresh along the way. At least the dog gets bespoke death cycles to chew on, just look how good that is! Here's your first of 3 shotguns. This shotgun completes your starting trio and does what you expect. It's punchy, sounds great with a pacey rate of fire for a pump action, which I like. Combines very well with the haywire pulse stun power for close encounters. The model looks pretty dull, and while the projectile feels great and has hard impacts on enemies, those particle effects are a little over the top. Sparks flying right in your face, and this isn't even the ricochet rounds. Now, the combat shotgun is where it's at. This thing chews up everything in view with such a glorious display of carnage. If you've been watching my series on all FPS shotguns, you'll know this is a must for an auto shotgun, and I'm delighted with how this one performs. I love the rate of fire of this thing, and the spread is just perfect. Makes a right old mess. Here's how this one looks fully modded out too. Very nice. Your third choice of shotgun is a sawn-off double-barreled affair, of which you can carry 2 as sidearms if you wish, and here's where you get 2 different ammo types exclusive to the gun, a highly accurate slug-like round and ricochet shot. The slugs are particularly impactful, a whole lot of fun nailing bad guys hiding behind shields or double tapping big fellas in quick succession. The icing on the cake would be if these pinned enemies to walls, but it's not a stake gun, even if it does feel that pleasurable. And here's those ricochet rounds. It's your own private fireworks party now. I can't say they were particularly useful in my run, maybe staggering more enemies at once, but my kill rate slowed. Unknowing or damaged enemies can be meleeed in one click too. It's not quite up there with Doom Eternal, but it's alright. Fast and loose. Now, let's talk about some of these special abilities. As good as the guns are, the combat soon demands you lead with these in any battle, shredding shields or keeping mobs in check. The Blast is a favourite, unleashing multi-kill homing lasers at anything in range. I recommend leading with this against a group. Good for singles too. The Haywire Pulse Blast staggers enemies in close proximity and strips energy shields, always handy in a pinch. Shock melees the tougher shielded foes too. The Perfect Aim lands all your hits at range for maximum impact for a few seconds. It's pretty funny holding the trigger down for rapid carefree fire, watching as your gun points around. Memories of the smart gun from Aliens here, just with any weapon you like. The Crush is a bizarre telefrag style attack that melts enemies around you wherever you choose to pop up. I don't understand how or why, but it's very effective. Heightened Senses gives you that familiar slow-mo effect to savour the viscera. Oh, and you get a bloody big knife too, with Strength Booster. It's a little janky this one, but the thrill is still there when you connect this hugely powerful weapon to an enemy's face. It's an amazingly aggressive looking blade coupled with enhanced movement speed. A lot of fun to mix up the gunplay with a break from shooting. And I like how it actually connects to enemies and is not just a predetermined swipe animation. Good collision box detection there. The Grapnel is an essential tool during combat, allowing you to quickly take a new vantage point, stagger enemies directly in a reverse Mortal Kombat Scorpion move, or pulling away those metal shields to expose soldiers. Honestly, it can't be overstated how much this changes up the combat, giving serious verticality to each fight. I feel like Spider-Man's heavily armed psychotic cousin at times. It's so easy to use too, quickly becomes muscle memory, latching onto pretty much any surface you can walk on within range. Back to the guns then, here's what's to expect. The auto pistol is a cool little thing with a great expressive reload animation. Long Las, a very satisfying snap to this one, and comes with a charge-up shot for heightened anticipation. Get some really nice snipe kills with this one. The Bolter is a thick weapon alright, and does give a crunching feedback on each hit. And for when you absolutely must vaporize everyone in sight, the Heavy Bolter doesn't disappoint. The Stub Cannon was a surprise find, like a stub gun on steroids, even though the stub gun was a beast already. If you make each shot count, it's a satisfying 1 to 2 shot kill with this at medium range. Heavy Stubber is your classic heavy machine gun style weapon. Definitely get your smart gun aiming on with this for maximum effect. The Plasma Pistol features a lovely detailed projectile and sound. About time some superheated gas balls started flying around. Makes a mess and is hard to see through it, in fact. Bigger and better is the full plasma gun. You get to see that pretty projectile more, as well as the increased visual explosion. Now, the grenade launcher. This has to be one of the most fun grenade launchers I've ever fired. That sound, the juicy explosions and domination of the enemy, it's beautiful. Even better is the choice of 3 rounds. Regular shells bounce and detonate on enemies only. Then you've got sticky proximities, which are a joy. And high explosive impact detonations, an extremely effective room clearing device. I had so much fun with this, felt like Arnie from Terminator 2, just way more lethal. And finally, the grav gun was a real wow moment, just watch. Hard hitting, pulls objects and small enemies into its gravity, and when you get the kill, an awesome black hole spectacle that sounds phenomenal. Hit orbits too. It makes no physical sense, but it's a lot of fun. Exactly the kind of imaginative weaponry the FPS world needs. Guns can also have elemental effects added to them, like flame and electric, which show on the impact particle effects too. A neat touch, adding another layer to the customization. Summing this up now, you get individual levels to smash through with your own loadout, a few notable set piece events, and boss encounters throughout. Enemies are a mix of highly responsive lower tier soldiers, a few heavies, high-tech shielded foes, plus dogs and aliens thrown in for good measure. Restock, upgrade, repeat. It never got boring during my 10 hours of play, and there was one notable highlight requiring maximum effort during a fortress defense mission. I had goosebumps when that really kicked off. Hired Gun doesn't possess the most refined FPS combat, but it offers so much variety and executes it well. It tilts heavily towards ultra-violence, but if you can stomach that and the dark, brutalist world you find yourself within, you'll have a blast. The model work, sound and projectile setups get full marks. It's a really satisfying combination. While impacts are excellent, there's a touch too many bullet sponges soaking things up, and those ragdolls hold the animation back a little. Enemy AI is competent enough, taking cover, attacking with various approaches, but can be dumb at times. Overall, the combat in Hired Gun works very well and receives an impressive 8.5 out of 10. Please consider supporting on Patreon. I love it!